Since the death of George Floyd, over a month now and a couple of days, there has been a major shift in policing ideals and practices in America. And more than 272 veteran police officers of the New York City Police Force have resigned, not resigned, but they're retiring. And 600 police officers that were a part of a group of detectives that patrol the streets of the boroughs of New York at night have been pulled away from their duties and now going to be put on parade duties or desk duties or some other kind of services they're going to perform in response to the Black Lives Matter and a whole lot of other people complaining about police brutality. But can I share some things with you? I live in Harlem, right? So I can tell you like it is. One of our captains, El Capitan David Lewis, who lives in one of the housing developments here in Harlem down on about 14th Street, 114th Street or so, says that shootings in his neighborhood now has greatly increased over the last month or so. And that there's more shooting out there. There's the police out. There's no police arresting people. Nobody stopping and frisking and stopping. That now it's the wild, wild west again here in New York City. I live on Lenox Avenue, 123rd Street, and they have now fireworks been going on for the last month, all night long. Just firecrackers after fire. Normally when, someone bursts firecrackers at 2 o'clock in the morning, the police would come and they'd run and they wouldn't be back no more. They do it every night, all night long, and police don't bother them because, well, police are no longer questioning people. They're not on the streets anymore. Crime has risen. I heard the statistics the other day that murder in New York City over the last month has increased by 79%. Robberies have increased in New York City by 60%. Since police are now being challenged not to stop, not to ask questions, not to attempt to arrest, not to stop, because of George Floyd and Rayshard Brooks and others. They don't stop nobody anymore. They don't ask no questions anymore. They don't deal with, unless somebody's shooting at the police, they ain't answering. And not that they're being irresponsible to their duties, but the structure now coming from the White House, coming from the politicians of the Black Lives Matter sort, is don't bother us black people. Don't ask us no questions. Don't say we look suspicious. Don't ask for identification. Don't ask that. Don't do that. If we're drunk, take us home. Somebody said, Rayshard Brooks, that the po-po should have put him in their car and driven him home and given him, and say, and here's your hamburger that we ordered to you. What the hell? The police are now becoming an escort service. They're now taking over the job of Uber. It's what the people are saying. That's what that mayor down there in Atlanta and that Eddie Gloyd boy down over yonder on MSNBC from Princeton University said the police should have driven him home. So, I don't know if you live in a ghetto like I do. I've been here for 40 years. And crime is on the rise again. I mean, and it's just going all off the chart. Here's that New York City crime stats show spike in burglaries and murders as a result of the fact all this heat being thrown towards the police officers. So how many people have been killed? And now it's just going off the charts. And it's getting worse as it goes along. And, and I hear policemen are saying this, and I don't blame them. I'm not saying that every police officer is a bad cop. I'm not saying everyone's a good one. I'm not saying that. They got some people on police. Got some politicians that are liars and thieves and murderers. And the worst sort, you got some police officers that are bad boy, bad actor. You ain't gonna never change that. You know, you ain't gonna never change. There's a bad person born every day gonna either become a preacher, politician, police officer, judge. You're not gonna change it. Now you try to restrain it as much as you possibly can, but you ain't gonna ever clean the barn. One of the things I would think that I got a note from a fellow the other day said one of the things that would help, and this might seem a little bit insensitive, but I'll say it anyway. You know, if police, and this is what Liz Gunderson and all these other freaks tell their children, if the police stop you, don't resist arrest. Let them arrest you. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, driving while black, right? But the other thing, I mean, and as much as I mourn the death of Eric Garner, that was a murder. That Daniel Pantalone took that boy, killed him. That boy out there, that popo out there in Minneapolis killed George Floyd. He killed him. I don't know what was going on, but something going on between the two of them about a woman, but he killed him. He killed him on that was not police duties at all. You know, Rayshard Brooks shot in the back like Walter Scott Thomas. But, and I don't mean to be insensitive, but don't run. Don't resist arrest. You know, say, take me to jail. Tell them if they stop you, take me to jail. At least you're gonna have all the witnesses there. At least you might have a chance of making it if they just take you to jail. But if you're gonna fight them, they're gonna fight you back. I'm telling you, if you fight the police, if you resist arrest, they're gonna fight you. They're gonna do it. So perhaps a lot of this could be solved by just stop telling everybody not to resist arrest. And that's what everybody say. They tell having a talk with your black children, put your hands on the steering wheel. Don't smart talk. Don't get bent out of shape. And that may not be the panacea, but Rayshard Brooks would be alive had he not ran. Just let him put you in the car and take you to the popo. They may have driven him home. I don't know. I don't think they would have. They ain't no big out of business doing it. Anyway, finally, let me wrap this up. The other thing is that, now I'm not here taking sides. I'm just the quintessential James David Manning. But these police officers, they do risk their lives. You don't hear the report of how many police officers are killed each year, but I'm telling you, these boys out here with these weapons, they'll shoot a police officer and go home and eat a bologna sandwich. And many of these police officers, we have built a reputation of being a people given to violence. Now, some of it could be unjustified, but, we are violent black people. We're violent towards each other. And, and we need to change that dynamic. We need to build a different type of dynamic. We need to be known as a peaceful people. And we need to work on that. That's one thing. But the other thing is that the police officers in New York and other places saying, listen, I done worked 25 years, 30 years of police. I ain't gonna lose my pension fooling around here with one of these Negroes running there with dreadlocks. I'm gonna let him go on and do what he's gonna do. I ain't losing my pension. No, sir. I'm not gonna go to jail and lose my pension fooling around here trying to explain why I had to arrest this boy. And so with that going on, crime is gonna jump through the roof in the ghetto and probably other places too. So somebody needs to point that out other than the police officer. Somebody needs to say that. I'm not saying that everybody but I can tell you that Trayvon Martin would definitely be alive. Michael Brown would be alive. Rayshard Brooks would be alive had they not resisted arrest or tried to fight the police. And as much as I mourn for Eric Garner, and I do, he'd be alive too. He's a big guy. And he resisted arrest. Listen, we need to come to terms with something, that the ghettos are dangerous places, not for the police officer. They're dangerous places for people that live among black people. They're dangerous. And that don't make me an evil person because I speak that truth. Listen, one of the things that startled me when I was in seminary 40-some years ago, that James Cone, who wrote the theses on black theology, James Cone, black theology, wrote about a black God and the whole idea about God being black. and the theology that's based on the blackness of God and black people. And was a teacher over it, tenured over at Union Seminary, but said in a lecture that he wouldn't walk the streets of Harlem at night because he's afraid of black people. And he's a black brother. Oh, well, you're black. Jesse Jackson said the same thing. And this is the truth. I'm not trying to beat up on black folk. I live among black folk. I love black. I educate, I feed, I worship with, I help, I train, I go to jail and the court for black people every day. Cornel West don't do that. Eddie Glaude don't do that. Liz Gunderson don't do that. I live among the people. I'm not trying to beat, I'm just telling you the ghetto is dangerous for black people. Forget about it being dangerous for the police. It's dangerous for black people because we are built up and ignorant, if you will, godless, if you must, way of living. That's untenable. And the police come in. They ask questions after they make the arrest. They want to go home too. And they want to collect their pensions. We're in deep trouble. Deep trouble. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant. This is a bit of a news blog we do looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.